Good evening, tubers. King Grimlock back once again for another Grimgram, and first off, as ever, a little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping point one, I want you to go here and check out this man, Roddy Wave 666. Used to be known as the Dwarf Pornstar 666, but then his channel got shut down, so he started a new one. If you were subscribed, go and subscribe again. If you weren't subscribed, go and subscribe. It's fairly simple. Point two, and something that you'll see appearing up around here, is where I got this guy from, Kapow Toys. But you will notice Kapow Toys have their own YouTube channel where they'll be reviewing the latest Transformers figures that will be available in their stores, and maybe some up and coming ones. Why is King Grimlock doing this and telling you all this? Well, when the videos start going up later on in the week, you might want to go and check them out to see what voice is on there. That's all I've got to say on that note. But we better crack on with this review, because I now have 9 minutes to do a triple changer. This isn't fun. I just want to highlight straight off the box, I've never done this before, but this piece of construction is amazing. This is what all toys should come in. Do you want a displayable art piece without opening it? This is it. I mean, it's just amazing. Top-notch work, fans project. Shall we have a look at the toys, since that's what we're here for? And what we're here for is the Warbot Defender Springer. Yes, Warbot Defender, commonly known as Springer in the Generation 1 world. A triple changer. They've decided to stick with the, fans project for anybody who doesn't know who's built this. They've decided to stick with the Cybertronian designs, obviously borrowing a little bit from Earth and Mode's helicopter. It's convincing as a helicopter. It's definitely Cybertronian in form. But, you know, it has a helicopter design about it. First thing I've got to point out is these blades, which are quite obviously the sword. And how thin they are. I mean, they are wafer thin. But, you know, they're durable. They are really durable. You don't have to worry about them at all. Really great bit of engineering. Secondly, this guy comes with a little stand that plugs in on that point there. And the die cast they've used is in the tail fin and in the front plate, and it balances it absolutely perfectly. I mean, it's risky. It's risky. That's on one finger. It's well balanced, it's well designed, it's highly intricate as well. I mean, the colours are fairly good, then quite close to G1 Springer colours. They are a little muted though. I mean, you do have this little patch at the front for the canopy with a bit allspark blue going on there. But the colours do seem a little muted. I don't know, maybe the green needs to be a bit more, or the yellow needs to be a bit deeper. But overall, I'm very impressed with the design aesthetic, the actual design of the helicopter itself and the colour scheme of it. Underneath, we are always going to have a bit of robot kibble with a triple change, especially when you consider the size. This guy is only a deluxe. You've got his fists in there. You can kind of make out his feet as well, especially if you know the design of the robot. This is my biggest problem. This panel here is exceptionally loose. That's where his head hides, and every time you transform it, you do get a nasty little crack every now and again from it. It's just, it's not nice. It's not comfortable. But overall, I mean, it's a very competent helicopter mode. 3 minutes up. Let's rock on with the next one. And Warbot Defender in his tank, stroke car, stroke armoured personnel carrier mode. As we can see, it is the helicopter, somewhat shortened, but it's quite clearly still the same toy. There's no major differences that make it scream, oh, that could be a completely different triple changer. It's still got the same aesthetic, it's still got the same areas. The main difference is just the intricacy of the design, really, of how they've managed to get it from one mode to the next. And the main parts are these black joints there. What they do is they rotate through the full 180. In the helicopter mode, they're all the way down. In the vehicle mode, they're all the way up. And it just brings the entire arm section up to it. The legs rotate and move around. That waist section also has an extension in it as well. And it does enough to be a separate vehicle. It does enough to show that it is different. Personally, I don't think it's different enough. I think it could do with a little bit more. But I do like it. I still like it. You know, go figure. Underneath, you have the sword. Everything is stored. You know, comes out as kind of like an exhaust. Back end is a bit weak. In a bit of shadow there. The back end is a little weak. It's not great. But overall, again, a very convincing mode. It rolls, as all good toys should. I'm sorry guys, the lighting on this is all over the place. But again, we still have that panel. We don't have as much visible robot kibble in this one. This one's a lot more secure, a lot more solid. It feels like a more solid piece as well. There's some very, very tight clips in the back where everything plugs into, and in the waist joint where it plugs into the underside of that. I mean, they're so tight, it's scary. You're having to really press down, like thumb bleeding, pressing down to get them into place. Overall, again, colour seems somewhat muted, but the lines are great. Everything seems to, slot together nicely, and it's designed well. It's been designed cleverly, and does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to give you two Cybertronian modes. It's a Cybertronian robot. Overall, I prefer the helicopter to this mode, but I think this is a highly competent piece. 3 minutes almost up. Robot time! And so we have Warbot Defender in his robot mode, which is really the one that you want to see. This is what you're going to be displaying him in. You're not going to be really leaving him too long in the helicopter or tank mode. This is what it's all about. And this is the mode that truly, truly delivers. It's still very Cybertronian in form, with all these lovely angled pieces and some fantastic joints on it as well. I mean, because of the way it's designed and built, the articulation is superb. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, the arms and shoulders alone must have about 10 points of articulation. Unfortunately, no articulated hands. I think that could have been something that could have been put in, but again, it's only a deluxe size piece. It's a big deluxe. It maybe was a little bit above the budget, as it were. Looking at the head mould straight off, I'm sure you can make that out there. It's Springer. It's quite clearly Springer. It's very well done Springer as well. Downside straight away, I'll get onto the weaponry in a minute, but the downside straight away is a distinct lack of heels, meaning that you really do have to be quite careful how you stand him up, because he doesn't want to stand most of the time. When you get his weapons in his hands and you start twisting and posing him, he's a lot better. You can really get him into some very dynamic poses, but as for, just standing him straight upright, he has a habit of being a touch back heavy, and there is very little you can do to stop that. There is no ball joint at the ankle, which is quite strange, but it does have this strange shin joint, which doesn't really make too much sense to me. But overall, as I say, when you get the weapons in hand, that's the most important thing. Even as a waist joint, I mean, it gets blocked off by these bits at the back, but it's got a waist joint. And kibble, let's look at kibble. We've got a triple change. Now we know what the Hasbro triple changes have been like. This is kind of where the money shot is, this is where you're spending the money. What kibble? It's a backpack. It's barely, it's gapping in the legs a little bit, but what kibble? There's nothing there. It's just amazingly done. Disappointment, there's a hole in the chest, or in his back, goes straight through, which is a shame. But again, realistically, fantastically done. As you can see, his sword is there. Another small down point. Fantastic looking sword. Bloody great bit of plastic sticking out the side of it. Go figure. And then we have these wonderful two guns that have been in every mode so far, holstered on the side, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it. If I can't, go and check out Evangelis' review. No, I'm not going to be able to. He can kind of draw his own guns, like an auto draw feature. It's like a bit like Brawn from Revenge of the Fallen. It's just a nice little thing. Guns are like peacemakers, good old Judge Dredd weaponry. And you've got two of those that you can play with. So you don't even have to have the sword with this dodgy lump of plastic out the side. But question is, really, is he worth the money? Can I get him to stand up so I can talk to you? Stay put, Springer. Personally, I have to say yes. It's expensive for what it is. It is just a large deluxe. You aren't getting much for your money in size. but you are getting die-cast metal and an accurate triple changing design with very little kibble on any of the three modes. Sorry. Is it good enough to be a classic Springer, Universe Springer? More than good enough. It's fantastic. The colours are a little muted. There are some strange design errors, flaws maybe, with lack of ball joints in certain places. Some of the clips are a little too tight, but that makes a nice change from saying that everything's too loose.